Let's first begin with heating oil on high flame. Well, it's very important to kind of halve these and cut the contours, which is very important, because that is the pocket, or that is the stuffing where it all lies. Now, the stuffing can be completely personalized. You can add in, of course, baked beans because I like it personally. You can add in sauteed spinach because again I like it personally. But again, you can build up an egg pizza in something like this. You can add all your Italian spices and you can build it up and you can make it. What I'm doing is I'm completely Indianizing it because, of course, I like Indian flavors. Well, oil on high flame to begin with, and I'm going to take these cups of peppers and I'm going to turn these because I want them to kind of sear on top, and then I'm going to turn them over so that the bottom also kind of begins to sear. Very importantly, while this is searing, I'm also going to add in just a touch of salt, and that's about it. Let's move on to our egg product. Now, how do we put that to use? How do we kind of get cracking with the recipe, which is again very important. Now, to begin with, this is the US dried egg product, and this is a dehydrated whole egg. Right? Now, egg, if you technically see an egg, is divided into several parts. The first one is the shell, then you have the egg white, then you have the yolk, and the yolk and the white are connected with a filament called the shalaze. Now, technically good to know, nothing relevant in today's masterclass because we're using an entire egg which is dehydrated or dried for that matter. Keep an eye on this. We want it to kind of wonderfully scorch at the bottom and on top. But what is important here is to show you a formulation which is very important. What I'm doing is I'm taking 2 parts of the US dried egg powder. Now when I say 2 parts, it could be 2 teaspoons, it could be 2 tablespoons, it could be 2 cups, it could be 2 kilos, it could be 2 pounds. Now, to 2 parts of the dried egg powder, I'm going to add in 3 parts of water or milk. Now that is again completely personal because it depends on how rich you want the recipe, which is again very important. Now, 2 parts of dried egg powder, to which I am adding 3 parts of water in this recipe because I don't want it very rich, I just want it just there. Now again, you can begin with using 4 tablespoons to 6 tablespoons of water or milk, or it could be 2 tablespoons of dried egg powder and 3 tablespoons, depends on what quantity you're looking at. Let's pan sear this. It's kind of sizzling, it's kind of just bubbling, it will kind of start rupturing the skin, and that's what we're looking at. Now, if you see, it's just kind of scorched on the top, and that's what we're looking at. Now because it's cold, I'm using my fingers. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. Now these are the cups that are kind of ready. Let me turn this off for a while so that we can kind of concentrate here. Let's whisk this mixture. Now, when I'm whisking this mixture, you will start noticing that it exactly starts looking like an egg, and that's what I'm talking about, right? Extremely hygienic. You're not adding in too much effort here at this stage because it just kind of is wonderfully easy, and that's what we're looking at. The whole idea of using this product is because primarily it's hygienic. What is also important in this case is that it takes care of a lot of labor. You know, I have also been guilty of this because, you know, when I was working in a hotel operation for almost 10 years, any industrial trainee or any trainee or any student that used to come in our section or our department, the only 2 jobs that we had for them is chopping an onion or breaking eggs. Especially in bakery pastry, I know, you know, when we had a festive time or a season time, especially Christmas or Diwali or, you know, Easter for that matter, we had industrial trainees, especially from all the different departments of the kitchen into our department, because we had like 100,000 of eggs that had to be cracked, sometimes also separated into white and eggs. Now this makes it super easy and super simple because here all you need to do is cut a packet and follow a ratio. Now, this is a recipe which I have followed using or seeing or reading the back of the label of the packet that I have cut. Now that packet very clearly said 2:3 and hence the ratio. But otherwise, as a standard, 1:3 is just perfect. Now, how do you calculate a recipe? 400 grams of eggs when dehydrated give you 100 grams of the US dried powder, which is very important to know, and that's where the entire ratio comes in the picture. Now, to this, I want to flavor this, so I'm adding in just a touch of salt, not too much. To this, I'm adding in carom seeds. Now, why carom seeds? Carom seeds also known as ajwain. I'm using carom seeds because carom seeds are from the thymol family, from the thyme family, from the oregano family, from the marjoram family. So now if you think of it, this is a flavor which is so Indian, wonderfully Indian, and you get the flavor without using any imported ingredient like an oregano or marjoram or anything of that matter. So I'm adding this. To this, I'm spiking it up with a little bit of chili flakes, and along with this, I'm adding just a touch of Garam Masala. Now, Garam Masala in the Indian homes needs no introduction, and that's just about perfect. Like we have Garam Masala, let me also tell you, there's also something called Thanda Masala. Garam Masala induces warmth, Thanda Masala induces coolant. It's like a cooling effect on the body. Things like bay leaf and fennel and coriander seeds and things like that become part of your Thanda Masala. Just good to know, but it's always nice to kind of impress people with such trivia. Whisk this well, and your egg mixture is done. Let's move on with the next process. The peppers have just begun to scorch at the bottom, and if you see, it's nice and aromatic at this stage. What is important in this recipe is the moisture from the peppers that need to be retained, and it's very important, and I'll tell you why. You'll understand that. Now, I am filling these cups with some baked beans. Now, these are baked beans which are of course available in all hotels, all restaurants, every hotel, every outlet that actually serves you breakfast. So I'm not stressing on to the recipe of this, but this for the uninitiated is your white beans, which are kind of preserved, cooked and preserved in tomatoes. Of course, sugar, salt, vinegar and all those things, all those wonderful things. Okay. To this, I'm adding in a dollop of spinach. Now this is sauteed spinach, butter, cumin seeds, garlic, and along with this spinach, just a touch of salt, touch of sugar. Why a touch of salt is because spinach has natural salt, which is very important. It's very high in minerals. So I'm adding spinach, which is sauteed. It's going to be a wonderful breakfast cup. And like I said, recipes are ballpark. You can of course keep changing them, keep tweaking them as per your creativity. Like I said, you can make it like a Mexican cup, you can make it like an Italian cup, you can make it like a Japanese cup. Completely your choice. To this, I'm adding in a tablespoon of egg. Now, if you understand, eggs puff up after cooking, so do not get overboard in adding too much because it will pop out, it will come out, and that's not what you're looking at, right? I think a tablespoon is just about perfect. Again, depends on the size of the cup. What I would suggest is to fill it 3/4, not right up to the brim, because that way you can control the puffing up. Okay, now, very important is to cover this and keep it. Now, I have cooked it on low to medium flame over the years, but again, you are the boss, you are the creative head. If you're using a pan which can directly go in the oven, you can take a pan and it can straight go in the oven, and that just works perfectly. While the eggs are now cooking, you'll see the steam from the peppers is kind of cooking the egg. It's going to kind of puff up, and that's what we're looking at. Well, now that this is going to take 2 minutes, let me take those 2 minutes and explain the advantages of the US dried egg product. Now, we need to first understand what are eggs used for in a recipe, and once we kind of understand that, it becomes very, very, very simple. Eggs are used, of course, in your meals. You can make a breakfast out of it, you can make a main course out of it, you can make a dessert out of it. But primarily, what is the use of an egg? An egg is used for emulsification, an egg is used for aeration, an egg is used for baking. You know, once you understand these, then it becomes easier, because then the adaptability becomes easier. Now, if you remember, I started the recipe with egg product, which is the US dried egg product, with water. Now, if you're baking something, if you're making a cake, if you're looking at richness, then of course, the milk quantity can increase in accordance to the dried egg product. Remember that, because every recipe may not be liquid friendly. Sometimes you may add in cream, you may add in milk, and that's how the recipes get adjusted. Primarily very important. Now, let me talk about the advantages of these products. Now, this requires minimal storage, because you can just stack it up one on top of the other, and that just sorts out everything. Two, it takes care of human labor. It takes care of human efforts, because you are not looking at cracking an egg, separating an egg, because you get all of this right here. It is recipe friendly, because once you understand the ratio, the proportion and the mixing, it's a cakewalk, literally so, because all you need to do is follow the formula, follow the recipe, and that's about it. Functionally, it becomes very easy, it becomes very lucid, it becomes very friendly, because all you need to do is mix it. What I'm trying to say again and again, you know, in concentric circles, if you see I'm going round and round, what I'm trying to say is this is absolutely friendly, and once you understand the formulation, it's a cakewalk. Now, it's been roughly a minute or so, and if you see, it's kind of puffing up, and that's what we're looking at. The egg needs to be thoroughly cooked through and through. And finally, when you serve this, we're going to Indianize it furthermore, because what I've done is I've made a tadka. I've made a South Indian tadka with oil. I have taken curry leaves, I've taken mustard, I've taken hing. You can also add in some urad dal, you can add in some chilies, personalize it completely. What you can also do is add in some methi powder, some fennel powder, and make it a wonderful tadka. And right towards the end, when I'm going to serve this, it's all going to go wonderfully on that. I'm also going to top it up furthermore with the sauteed spinach and the baked beans. Well, please note in all your queries, note in all the doubts that you may have at this stage, because of course, when I talk to you a little later in the Q&A, when I start, replying to your questions, it's going to be easier for you to kind of go back to the recipes. Now, if I may just open it, I'm getting too tempted to do. Okay, if you see, the egg here has just cooked, and it's wonderfully beautiful looking. It's taken 2 minutes. It's not going to take too much time to cook. Maybe another 30 seconds and the egg would be beautifully cooked. So let's wait for that. With this, now if you notice, I'm very excited to show you this. Look at how bouncy this has become. Look at how wonderful. It's creamy, and trust me, it's also going to be delicious. Look at this. It's got that wonderful bounce, and the butter from the spinach has kind of begun to release. It's wonderful. Let's begin with the plating. I'm so excited. Well, now what is important here is to make it look nice and wonderfully colorful, because that's where the entire beauty of the plate comes in. Food is all about making it look nice, wonderful, colorful, because that's where it becomes absolutely eye-appealing. Look at the whole natural butter that's actually oozing out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to another level. I'm also going to add in a little more of the baked beans, because it will make it look wonderful. Food is also about ensuring that every aspect of it is seen. The bounce of the egg needs to be seen, the spinach needs to be seen, the baked beans need to be seen. You know, because when you actually make it visible, that's when the guests actually like it, because then they know the components that are used in a dish like this. Finally, I'm using some microgreens. In this case, I'm using some amaranth, because I have it, I grow it in my own kitchen garden, so I'm using it. But nevertheless, you can use what you get. You can also add in some parsley, some cilantro, and make it look wonderfully colorful and brilliant. Well, that's done. Finally, I'm going to add in the South Indian tempering, which again is going to make it look colorful, make it look Indianized, and that's what will make it wonderfully beautiful. Do not forget the curry leaves. Now, oil again can be completely personal. You can use olive oil, you can use coconut oil. Again, personalize it, make it look wonderful, make it look beautiful. Just ensure it looks nice, colorful, it's tasty, flavorful, and that's about it. With this, I'm done, I'm ready, and this looks so colorful, it looks so beautiful, so tempting, isn't it? Well, on that note, this is ready. Let's move on to the next recipe, which is again very interesting because it's a soup. It's an egg drop soup. But before that, this, ladies and gentlemen, for you is my very special breakfast platter.